I, Usman Jabata, do affirm
that
I will speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but it.
So help me God.
So help me.
Thank you very much. We know Mr. Usman Jabati, but Mr. Jabati does not know. Maybe he does not know all of us. So can we start the introduction from there?
Good afternoon, MD and the President. I'm Honorable Lavin Jason, a National Assembly member from the southern part of the county.
Good afternoon. I am Karu Sala, specialist subject matter.
Yes, good afternoon. I am Honorable Amna Kamara, member of the committee.
Afternoon, I am Honorable Nobody Judge.
Afternoon, I am Honorable Jamano Media and Products.
Yes, good afternoon, Daniel Carlos, Deputy Clerk, Business and Programs.
Good afternoon, Mohamed Senior Committee Clerk and Clerk of the Committee.
Thank you very much. Honorable Swahili Ture, Chair of the Public Relations Committee.
On South, member. Honorable Kewalan Fufana, member of the committee.
Mrs. Hadidande Njai Japi, a special subject matter.
The rest are press and the clerks. So thank you very much. Then we listen to Mr. Jobati. Like I said, we requested for this meeting for us to hear you and later be written to you. So now we will listen to what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members and subject matter specialists. The purpose of our requesting for audience was the fact that the issue that happened at the Port Authority was an allegation about fraud. And it was as a result of whistleblower information that was received in my capacity as managing director. So immediately the information was received, we convened a senior management meeting in which the issue was discussed. And the specific directorate which the incident was alleged to have happened was had during that meeting. Before the end of that day, it was on a Tuesday, I believe, if my memory serves me right, on the 2nd of February, I wrote a memo assigning a task force, which is an internal task force comprising members of the GPA management team. Based on the information that was received and what was the intention of the investigation to unearth. So the selection was made based on that objective. And senior audit manager, a junior pilot, and a corporate service, a manager in the corporate service were selected. So these are people that were independent of that department that was being investigated. And they were given 3 weeks to unearth the matter and report back to management. So when that happened, the committee, because they were under pressure, they submitted the report, but it was preliminary. Because the nature of the allegation spanned a lot of transactions that happened. Typically in a day, we have more than 150 containers that leave the gates of the port. So if there was any allegation of fraudulent activity going around those deliveries, it means a lot of paperwork had to be checked over a period. So when the committee submitted their report, it was submitted with some observations and recommendations. And one of the primary observations was there's a lot of documents that they needed time to go through so that they can get to the bottom of what was alleged to have happened. And because of the constraint of time, they recommended that further investigation be done in the matter. So with that, the committee report was tabled at the board of directors of the GPA with a prayer that the committee were limited because of the time and the required expertise to unearth what was alleged. And then the prayer was for the board to allow the matter to be escalated to the competent authorities to do the proper investigation. And that's how the board accepted the prayer, and then a letter was written to the Inspector General of Police inviting them to come and do a more detailed investigation. During the course of the engagement with the Inspector General of Police, that office, the IGP, wrote back to the GPA suggesting that we invite the National Audit Office because of the nature of the exercise that they were expected to do. So from there, we, as management, also wrote to the National Audit Office and invited them to engage and conduct the exercise with a specific terms of reference. And in that exercise, the National Audit Office was also required to go even beyond the period in which the allegation was reported. So they were asked to do a period even in excess of what was reported. So we wanted them to cover a longer period. So they have ended, and as we speak, there was a request for extension of time to provide responses to some initial findings from the National Audit Office, which I am aware, and I had participated in the right to provide the necessary response to some of the queries that the National Audit Office had raised. So there's all indication that the National Audit Office will sooner rather than later complete the forensic investigation, as it were, to come out with a detailed report as to what they may have found that had transpired surrounding this incident. So that was the main reason why we thought we could humbly request this eminent office to allow the time to complete the exercise, and then the report by the experts would be made public. The other reason also, Honorable, was that the report was preliminary and inconclusive, and certain individuals, staff members and consignees, clearing agents, and a lot of individuals were mentioned in the preliminary report, which we deem, if there is nothing conclusive, it will not be fair on those individuals to name them in a scandal only for an audit report to come out and exonerate them. And then again, the people that were alleged to have been involved in the transaction, these are the staff that are involved in all these administrative processes. According to the whistleblower information, were junior officers working on their supervisors. So when the matter was escalated to the board, that's why the decision went to reprimand, according to our service rules, even those people who were the supervisors of those specific units. So all those decisions were taken by the board, that administrative practice would dictate that if there is an allegation in any specific unit, it's not only those that are alleged to have been involved, but those that have supervisory role also must also be called to bear in the whole issue. So all these decisions were taken at the level of the board of directors. And the specific provision that we invoked in our service rules was what we call interdiction, where they will be placed on half salary until the outcome of the investigation. So honorable member, chair and honorable members, this is the issue why we humbly requested to have this audience. That as an institution, we acted on whistleblower information, and we did what we thought at the time was administratively correct in terms of trying to honor, and with all the intention of making it public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Jobati. So for the sake of clarity, I would allow you, if you have any questions, to clarify, for you to clarify.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Jawai, thank you for your appearance. My concern is you remember this National Assembly passed a bill called access to information. Access to information. And information is key. But your explanation shows that the investigation is not completed. You are going to a further level. Now, do you have a time frame for this investigation that you intend to do with other people? Is it the police are involved? And in fact, even if they are at another stage, what stage? Can we be informed?
Okay. Thank you, Honorable. As I mentioned earlier, the information that is credible at this moment is that there was a request for extension of time from our office to the National Audit to allow us to respond to some of the issues that they have brought out in their draft report. Because that's normally the process with auditors. They will produce a draft report and raise certain issues and then request for management response. So we are at that stage of gathering the management response. And the deadline we have to respond to the auditors is on the 25th of October, this month. So thereafter is now the National Audit Office who have to finalize their report and then submit to management. So with all expectation, we believe that before the end of this year, we should get a final report from the National Audit Office. But it's just an expectation, like I said. We will only know when they pull out from the audit. And that is going to happen with certainty after the 25th of October, which is the deadline that they have given as extension to respond to some of their queries. Thank you.
Yes, I told you very so.
No, it's a similar question.
It's a
I was a
similar-
little bit worried about the time.
What? Yes, it looks like there are two major concerns that are raised. One is the time frame given for proper investigation. It's not far for the report to come out. It's not far. That is one concern. And then you want to come and give us the full report, so that those who may be presumed, they are presumed guilty, presumed not guilty. So if the report comes out, it may keep them. That is one of the reasons. And you are asking for us to allow time for that to come out. And then the other one is not to tarnish the image of those who may be ignorant. Those are the two main reasons we have, right?
You're very right, Honorable.
Unless anybody has any questions for Mr. Jamano.
Yes, I think we are relating on the fact that we earlier on ordered for something, and he justified the reason why that is not happening. I think that is the justification that we are admitting that what he put to us have justified that they need time.
Yes.
So I believe with what he presented to us, we are convinced, and we can give him the time. Yes, to me, I feel we are convinced.
No. What we are saying, we've heard him, and then we are going to convene again and discuss the information that we have had. That is the position. But if you don't have any questions for him, you feel that all your doubts are clarified, then we can do this. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Just add on to what Honorable Sao said. I'm a bit concerned about the time frame when this investigation will be concluded. I understand there are process and procedures involved, and then what we want is for the investigation, for you to exhaust all channels and make sure you get the best out of the best. Don't allege somebody, let somebody not be alleged. At the end of the day, we find out that he or she is innocent while everything is related to the public. That will definitely be very unfair. So what I want to urge is whatever that you are doing, you fast track it, but make sure you do it accordingly. That is very important. And I believe before the end of the year, this will be done. Since you said on the 25th of this month, you will. That's the deadline the internal audit gave you to respond to some of the queries they raised. Then after that, the national audit will come. Yes, and then you can also convey our message to them. This is a matter of public importance and it's a matter of public concern. So whatever that is to be done, let them expedite the process and probably before the end of the year, so that we can have this thing done. Because as far as the committee is concerned, we are acting on a petition that is demanding for the investigation report to be released, to be published, nothing else and nothing more. So, and then that's the line we are going with. So, but with your explanation, as I said earlier, let's make sure we explore the process accordingly without us, and then you get the best of it. Thank you. That's my answer.
Thank you, Honorable. Okay, well,
Yeah, thank you.
I will start by telling the DG
Thank you for really, how do I say, giving the National Assembly the ultimate respect it deserves. The issue at hand cannot be downplayed. The good fortune out of it is that internally you've done your investigations, and those investigations have substantiated what was earlier alluded by the whistleblowers. So which means that it has gone beyond any iota of doubt that yes, there were certain things going on which was abnormal. Now, with the reasons you've advanced, I would not conclude for the committee, that is for the committee to decide, which I am a member of, but will just add my voice to earlier speakers to say that waiting till next year is far-fetched. The most difficult part of the investigation have been done. They've done the forensic audit. As of now, they've provided you with a draft, and they've given you an ultimatum, which is the 25th of this month. Which means once management have definitely responded to the queries or the areas highlighted by the external auditors, what will be left there for the external auditors to do is just to collate. That shouldn't go beyond a month. You know, and going by what Honorable Kamara have said, if you express the need and urgency of the report, they should be able to complete it, voting before the end of November, and then you'll be able to close this chapter. So at this point, Honorable Chair, what I would advise the committee to do is, since you've made a request, you've heard from him, in-house, you can sit down, discuss among ourselves and come up with a verdict which can be communicated to them. Thank you.
Yes, so if we don't have any other intervention, we can conclude. But one thing that we want to make very clear to the entire country, the committee is mandated by law, and we have our standing order that guides us. And we cannot go out of that guidance. And we want every Gambian to know that the issue in hand is an issue that needs consultation. We don't want to do anything with us, and we are not pressing any individual or an institution. We are out to seek for what the petitioners want. So in doing that, National Assembly, we don't have any other special interest in this case. And our relationship with the institutions should be based on the demand. So we thank you for appearing before us, and we believe your collaboration with the committee will be intensified in the near future. So we thank you for your presence. He wants to say something.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. And first and foremost, to apologize for the last time I could not appear in person because I was away on official mission when the summons came. And just to reaffirm our commitment that we treat this honorable house with due respect. And as public servants, we are aware about our responsibility, that we are open to scrutiny. So if that is anything to go by, it's just to give the assurance that we will make public all the investigation report of what may have happened as public servants. We are open to scrutiny, and it's one of our mandates to ensure that whatever service that we provide is being scrutinized by the public, and we are aware about that responsibility, and we are committed to ensure that whatever the public demands of us, we are there to fulfill the expectations of the public. And then the matter is now for the public space to join whatever may have happened. But the commitment is there to ensure that we are alive to our responsibility and open to scrutiny as public servants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jobari. You are now released. Yeah, he's coming. We'll get back to you. You released.
Yes, you can go now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
And the press release.
Yes. Mr. Jobari, thank you.
And this bonus. All right.
Thank you, sir.